It's Monday night and DRL Radio is on the air. Sit back and relax. It's time to talk about all things sim racing. Here are your hosts, Rich, Mr. TV Time Patton, Todd, Too Tall Stat, and Phil, the Racer Lacasse. Okay, boys, let's have some fun. Yes.
Oh, yeah, back at it again on a Monday night. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of DRL Live. I'm a DRL Network. Thank you out there, everybody in YouTube land, for watching us here tonight as we talk about all things sim racing on what has been an absolute crazy and busy week for all of us out there in the sim racing world, as Daytona Speed Weeks is certainly upon us, and all the racing leagues out there from all over the sim racing world that is busy getting back to it, and we got you all live covered here tonight as part of this segment of DRL Live, open to everybody to come be part of the conversation. You can find DRL Network inside the Sim Racing Association TeamSpeak. The IP is on your screen. All are welcome to come be part of the conversation this evening, as we have so much to get to here tonight. My name is Phil Lacasse, along with Todd Stanton, Joe Allen, and Rich Patton, as always, at the controls here on DRL Live. Each and every week, I'm a DRL Network, live once again on a Monday night. Todd Stanton, and it has been a busy, busy, busy week in the sim racing world, in the real racing world. There's all the festivities going on at the Daytona International Speedway this week. I mean, so much great stuff going on, and I mean, I don't even know where we begin here tonight.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic week of racing last week, and even more racing end out this week, and a lot of big leagues taking off here with the Daytona International Speedway. You're going to see a lot of Daytona last week and more Daytona this week, so you're going to see a lot of that on the results, a lot of leagues taking off this week, Phil, and it's going to be rather interesting to see all the results that we got from the leagues, and we got a packed review show.
Oh, we absolutely do. It's a review show and it's a preview show. I mean, all these leagues coming to life here in 2017. Here, as many of the leagues open up the season when the NASCAR calendar kicks off in February here. Joe Allen, I know you, just like the rest of us, you've been out there racing all week long, and so much great stuff going on all over the sim racing world right now.
Oh, definitely, Phil. We've certainly, I think all of us can speak for ourselves that we've kept ourselves quite busy over the last week, between some seasons coming to a close, some seasons getting started, and, you know, people are in points battles, and there's just so many action-packed leagues around the community right now that have things going on. And as Todd kind of covered, I mean, you're going to see a lot of Daytona reviews in the schedule, and that's because a lot of these leagues are getting going here early on. So for the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to be Daytona'd out by the end of it, that's for sure, and everybody's going to be looking forward to moving on to some of these short tracks and mile and a halfs and whatnot. But I think you guys touched on it the most. I mean, just so many exciting things going on right now, and, you know, a lot of fortunate and really fun things to look forward to in the future as well.
Oh, absolutely couldn't agree. And as Joe just said, Rich, I mean, I think by this week we may be all Daytona'd out, as so many of us have been racing at the Daytona Speedway all week long. And we got 3 big action-packed nights of live broadcasts here on DRTV on the DRL Network here over the course of these next week here, Rich, starting tomorrow night over at Excel. But, you know, we're going to be Daytona'd out, but it's really cool to be so busy as we're going to be.
Yeah, that it is. DRTV's definitely headed into a busy week this week, and it's just going to get worse as we go. A lot of leagues have already signed up with us. We got races scheduled for months ahead of us now, so pretty booked. We're normally not this busy. We usually kind of take it easy, but the leagues are getting ramped up and getting schedules out there, and they're definitely making contracts with us to get their shows on TV. So busy year coming, and this week's kicking it off for us.
Absolutely right. And as we said, we'll kick it off tomorrow night at Excel. We got the SRA 711 Truck Series Wednesday night, and the grand finale for the week, the TDR Premier Cup Series here on Saturday night. But we'll talk about all the previews later. I believe we're going to have Chris Rogers from Excel joining us here in a little bit. Also, David Schildhouse on the agenda here tonight, talk to the defending FTF Cup Series champion. We'll get to that later on. But as we always do here, start every week, Todd, let's go jumping straight into the weekly review. So let's get it started.
And this week, I get to start with Extreme Motorsports. Extreme Motorsports had 3 different divisions going on, I believe I see in front of me here. Extreme Frank Divins won the Coca-Cola 150 on February 13th, Monday Night Winston Cup 90 Series. Frank Divins took down the win with Ryan Pace, Sean Whitehill, Tommy Bordeaux, and Steve Looney rounded out your top 5. In the second action here on the Tuesday night Extreme Muscle Car Late Model Series at the Bristol Night 2014 FSC it saw Robert Balcom taking down the win, Jerry Walters finishing second, Frank Divens Sr. finishing third, fourth was Joseph Weaver, and Jim Black rounded out your top 5. And then for the Daytona SRA race, a brand new track here in the community, Daytona SRA race number 11 here over the Extreme. They tried that track out, and taking down the win was Randall Coleman, Blake McCandless finishing second, Joe Allen third, fourth was Charles, fifth was Frank Divens Sr. Also, Extreme Motorsports has partnered with the 7-Eleven Super Truck Series. He also put that in here. They partnered up. They sponsor 3 points races here in the 7-Eleven Series, and who leads the halfway point in each and every race of the 36 points races. So Extreme also heavily involved in that 7-Eleven Series. 2017 racing season at EMS begins tonight with the Cup 90 Series at the Michigan International Speedway, qualifying at 11 p.m.
Moving on, we have results from the Fast Racing League. On Thursday, February 16th, their Chromatic Designs Truck Series competed in the Dr. Pepper 150. Taking down the win was William Page. Finishing second was Sean Whitehill. Joseph Weaver came in third. Davey Hazard finished fourth, and Tommy Bordeaux finished fifth. And moving on to their Sunday Wannabes Cup Series, they visited my hometown at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway on February 19th. Ryan Pace finished that race in the lead as your winner. Randall Coleman came in second. Tommy Bordeaux was third. Sean Whitehill was fourth. And Timothy Titch came in to round out the top 5 for that race.
Moving on over to the Afterburner Motorsports clan. Ray sending in a little tidbit for me. Last night, Sunday night, February 19th, Afterburner Motorsports held a triple header, the first of 3 nights of triple header racing for them. Last night kicked off the first of 5 triple headers this week. Race number 1 went over to Tracy Enders and Todd Too Fast coming home in the second spot. Race number 2, I believe this was all at Daytona. The second race was won by Jeff Prutzman. Jeffrey Elliott came home in runner-up spot in race number 2. And race number 3 of last night's triple header at Afterburner was won by Devin Bliss in a great night of racing and fun. Second triple header is over tonight at Daytona at Afterburner Motorsports. So guys, check them out if you're looking for a place to race. Ray Hulick, all the guys at Afterburner, they'll certainly take good care of you.
All right, guys, moving on to the FTF Racing League. As many of you remember, they took to Daytona Pole Day qualifying last week with a turnout of 76 drivers. And we had Taylor Morgans was your pole sitter, and to his outside is going to be Brandon Lawson. So they're going to be the 2 guys that are starting on the front row. And this last weekend on Sunday, guys, we took to the Daytona duels. We had Duel A and Duel B. As you can see on the screen now, we'll have the results from those duels lined up, and that's actually going to be your starting order for the CJ First Candle Daytona 500. That's going to roll off next Sunday, guys. So 81 drivers total took whether it be time, they participated in the duels race, relied on owners' points, or maybe a sponsorship provisional. Over 80 drivers took to the Daytona International Speedway to try to get themselves qualified for this event. That is huge. That's something that we haven't seen in years in this community. So to see something this successful for their opening race of this 36 race season at the FTF Racing League, guys, is really, really awesome. So Taylor Morgans won Duel A, David Schildhouse won Duel B, but respectively, myself finishing second in Duel A, that'll put me up to the 3rd position with Taylor Morgans starting from the pole position, guys, and David Schildhouse is going to roll off 4th, and you can see the rest of the running order from there on. So next week, it's a 125 lap race at the Daytona International Speedway, and the race winner is going to receive a pair of incredible flip headphones, courtesy of the Selden, New York Radio Shack store, which is managed by Head Series Administrator Justin Malillo, guys. So be sure to go over there and check out the FTF Racing League. They got a lot of exciting things going on, and a lot of fantastic things to be excited for moving on for the rest of the season over at FTF.
Oh, certainly got a lot of great things coming on there. Cannot wait to see where they're going to go the next couple of months. But moving over to the ExcelRacing.net clan, and I know we're going to have Chris Rodgers here in just a little bit here as part of our Speed Round segment normally. But moving over to Excel, They had a great race, week of racing action. The Stars Modified Series ran this past week. Kyle Lawson put the number 15 KL chassis Dodge on the pole and would go on to lead 98 of 100 laps en route to his third win of the season in the Stars Modified Series Budweiser Classic 100 at the Langley Speedway. The race would be slowed by 5 caution flags, the last of which coming out on lap number 91. That set up a 4-lap shootout till the checkered flag. Lawson had the lead on the restart. Incident in turn number 1 between second place running Chit Dellenbeck and Chris Rodders spun them both out of contention for the win, but it was Kyle Lawson winning the drag race back to the checkered flag to claim checkered flag number 3 of the season. Todd Colpitz finished up second, Jeff Rogers third, Dennis Chambers fourth, and Chris Rodders rebounded to finish in that 5th spot. That Lawson maintains his point lead, a 19-point margin, I believe, over Chris Rodders. Todd Colpitz currently third. Dan Yeager, Dan O'Skinsy's currently fourth, and Corey Rodders running at your top 5. The Stars Modified Series takes 2 weeks off in observance of the Daytona Duels and the Excel Shootout we'll see here live tomorrow night. But moving over to the Flemington Speedway, anybody that's ever raced at Flemington knows that this track is certainly tough, on rookie drivers. But race number 7 of the season for the Danoskins Pro Cup Series rolled into Flemington. Chris Rodders put his number 00 machine on the pole and went on to lead 73 laps, but a pit road mishap relegated him outside of winning contention here late in the races. Issues with a 4-tire pit stop. That handed the lead over to Kyle Lawson, who went on to dominate the remaining stages of the race until the last restart, where he spun out of contention, allowing Chris Rodders to regain and take down the checkered flag there in the Danoskins Pro Cup Series. Dennis Chambers was second. Andrew Hertz brought the Track Connection Chevrolet home third. Kyle Lawson would rebound to finish fourth, and sophomore sensation Michael Berner finished up in the top 5. Kyle Lawson still sitting atop the Danoskins Pro Cup point standings with his 3rd win of the season, 3 points ahead of Chris Rodders. It's going to be a tremendous race there in the Danoskins Series. I know that series has been around for a long time. A lot of great things coming up at Excel. As we said, the most anticipated week of the 2017 season brings us to the Danoskins Excel Shootout tomorrow night. We'll have live flag-to-flag coverage here on DRTV, and as well as the Danoskin Duels being run there next week over at Excel Racing. Cannot wait to get back there tomorrow night, guys. It's been a great week of racing, a great off-season of winter racing at Excel, guys. So can't wait to go see Chris and the guys here tomorrow night, and we'll certainly talk to him here in our next segment here. But moving on to the weekly review, Todd.
As we move down into the weekly review, I'm looking at the interactive chat box. Been amazed by all the conversation that has been going on in the interactive chat box. But we're moving on to FTE, Fast Track Elite Sim Racing kicks off their season this Friday night at the Daytona BR Night Version 2 for the Advanced Auto Parts Clash in the Gen 6 BR15 mod. Open setups. Temp is 71 degrees. Temp based on real race temps. It's never cloudy. Server practice opens at 7 p.m., qualifying at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. It will be followed by the Real Cup schedule. They will be doing the Real Cup schedule all throughout the whole series. Other series may be added later this year. League owners Denny Daniels and Joe Morabito and head admin JT Mayhew is those admins. Visit them at www.ftesimracing.com. Then moving on over to the the Fuel, the Panasonic Cup Series, first annual Busch Class at Daytona. Joey Fulford ends up taking down the win. Rick Johnson, Mike Mariota, Tyler Stallhood, and Colby Martin rounded out your top 5. That was the first annual Busch Class at Daytona for the Fuel Panasonic Cup Series.
All right, guys, we're heading over to the Insomniac Motorsports League now and covering the Big Evil Dirt Series. This last weekend, Kelly Horner won that race. Our own Todd Stanton came in second. Grant Wesley was third. John Wall was fourth, and Phil Parker rounded out the 5th position there for that race, guys. And their Saturday Night Mutts Man Up Truck Series went to Riverside on the road course from the 70s. Derek Justice was your winner from that race. David Day came second. Taylor Morgans was third. Blake McCandless finished fourth. And Jeffrey McClintock ran it out your top 5 for that race. And after the conclusion of that race, Robert Baucom was crowned the Mutts Winter Series champion. So congratulations to Robert Baucom for winning that race, guys. And coming up this weekend on Friday night, their Super Speedway Series last race of the season, guys. It's been a long season, 12-race season. But going back to last week, Jeff Groover won that race at Talladega, dedicated that race to his late friend and a late friend of the community as well, a big guy over at Open Speedway, Jim Lure, a.k.a. Krusty. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family after this difficult time. A lot of people are thinking about him, so everybody keep praying for him. John Wall came in second in that race, guys. Chris Hart was third. Craig Meyer was fourth. And Eddie Lee came in fifth. And as we said, championship night is coming up this week. They're actually extending the race to a 50% race this weekend, guys. It's going to be 100 laps at the Daytona International Speedway using that new Daytona SRA track that was put together by Derek Justice. And a little rundown of our points for that series. Chris Hart has a 3-point lead over Derek Justice. I'm third, 7 points back. Sean Whitehill is fourth. He's 9 points behind. And Ricky Collette is 20 points back in fifth. So we got a tight battle for that championship, guys. But Phil, I think you got some results from Bohica. Oh, I'm sorry. Todd has the results.
Going down over to Bohica, our only iRacing entry here again tonight. I'd like to see some more iRacing guys get involved here with their results. iRacing leagues out there. This call goes out to you, but Bohica been really, really consistent on sending in their results here to our show. Round 8 of 13. Server goes up at 8:30 Eastern. Street Stocks are at USA, and K&N is at Las Vegas. Last week's winner, Street Stocks, was Adam Helm, and K&N winner was John Kennedy, another name that I've known for a very long time in this NASCAR 2003 community. John Kennedy, I remember racing against him quite a few years back. Good job. All have nice, clean racing, and they were all caution-free. The points are very, very close, and he says come get some. Street Stocks, Gerald West at 303, Jason Andrews at 268, Adam Helm 266, Michael Massey in fourth at 236, so he's quite a ways back. John Wimbish is 173. K&N points. Adam Helm at 287. Gerald West 264. Jason Andrus at 255. John Wimbish is at 236, and Bradley Cross rounds out your top 5 in the K&N points series.
Moving on over to TDR Racing, 4 great nights of racing last week. A lot of great highlights. The TDR Pro Truck Series, presented by NRT Game Servers, made its maiden voyage Thursday night with the running of the Thank Event 150 at the Daytona International Speedway. It was Taylor Morgans taking down the win, the $15 cash prize, and a custom coffee mug from our friend at Geist White Creations. Joe Allen rounding out, coming home in the second spot. Todd Stanton third. Oh, imagine that. All these guys from DRTV in the top 3. Robert Baucom came home fourth, and Rick Johnson rounding out your top 5 in the maiden voyage of the of the Pro Truck Series over at TDR. Thank you guys in my ear. Where were you at, Phil? I got wrecked by our teammate, but we won't go into that here. Rolling on over to Saturday night. A couple nights ago, TDR Racing opened up the 2017 Apple Collision Center Premier Cup Series, new title sponsor this year. We'll see that series here Saturday night for the Daytona 250. But Saturday night, they ran the inaugural Dash at Daytona, a 40-lap non-points event. 24 drivers took the green flag at TDR. And in his first start ever at TDR Racing, it was Aaron Johnson, the pride of SMO Hardcore, invading TDR and taking down the checkered flag. Jeffrey Goodpaster made a great return to online racing. He came home second. The dog, John Palmer, brings it home third. Two-time defending series champion Derek Justice fourth, and Bruce Heil rounded out your top 5. And as I said, the official season opener is a few nights from now, Saturday night, February the 25th. Live flag-to-flag coverage on DRTV at 9 p.m. of the Apple Collision Center Premier Cup Series. Also over at TDR this past week, the Geist White Creations Dirt 55 Series rolled off for their first race of the season at the Accord Speedway here on Friday night. It was Bruce Heil taking down the win, Scott Schroyer second, Jack Truin third, the Reaper Steve Gordon fourth, and Keith Patton rounding out your top 5. And finally, one night ago, the Aero 88 season opened up at the Daytona International Speedway, and Can't believe I'm saying this again on a super speedway. It was Todd Stanton taking down the win at Daytona. Jack True in second, Ryan Johnson third, Bobby Farrell fourth, and the Reaper Steve Gordon, guys, rounded out your top five. A busy week of racing at TDR, and with 5 nights of racing coming up in the next couple of weeks, going to see a lot of great stuff from them. So check them out, tdr-racing.net, guys. Todd, Joe, I'm not sure who's next in line, but take it away.
All right, guys. I've got the results here for Blazing Pedals. Their Monday night Super Speedway series visited the Talladega Super Speedway. League president, 75 of Sean Case, guys, took the win for that event. Scott Schroer was second. Tom Richter was third. Bruce Heil was fourth. And our friend Bobby Farrell was fifth. Looks like here they said he finished second, but he was moved to fifth after a post-race penalty. So not entirely sure what Bobby did, guys, but I'm actually kind of intrigued to figure out what Bobby did. But anyways, their Wednesday night Camping World Truck Series was off this week. Their official 2017 season is going to start February 22nd. So this upcoming week, we should expect some racing for that Camping World Truck Series. And their Thursday night Sprint Cup Series had their winter finale at the Daytona International Speedway. The 34 of Tom Richter was the winner of that event. Dakota Wilkins in the 78 was second. Jesse Klein was the 00 in third. Bobby Farrell was fourth in the 45, and Toby Robertson was fifth in that number 64. The finale points for the 2016-2017 winter season was Tom Richter. I'm sorry. So segment B of the winter season, Tom Richter was first. Toby Robertson was second. Jesse Klein was third. Bobby Farrell was fourth. Sonny Tallman was fifth. And the overall point standings for the winter season, Tom Richter was first. Toby Robertson was second. Bobby Farrell was third. Bruce Heil was fourth, and Jesse Klein rounded out the top five over there at Blazing Pedals, guys. So be sure to go visit them at blazingpedals.net, blazingpedals.com to get signed up for their upcoming 2017 season.
All right, now moving over to the SRA 711 Truck Series that is making its debut here on DRTV Wednesday night from Daytona. Well, they had the Daytona duels here last Wednesday night. 44 drivers showed up to take the green flag between these two separate races. They were two fantastic races. I was involved in the first one there. It was mainly a caution-free race, and until there was a mishap with me on the racetrack where I brought out the event's only yellow flag, I believe. But a great race indeed. As you said, Taylor Morgan set the fast lap in qualifying here a couple of weeks ago to put himself on the pole Wednesday night, and Corey Carpenter was fast qualifier in duel number one. But at the end of it, a great race indeed. It was Greg Lovell taking down the win in the 088. Jason Justice, Jay Schaefer, Gary Piccolo, and Brandon Lawson were your top five. 12 drivers, qualified out of duel number one that locked themselves into the main event this week. There's going to be some knockout qualifying going on this Wednesday night, if you could believe that. It's going to be an awesome night there on Wednesday night we get over there. Moving on to duel number two. Now, this one was the story of the night as far as I was concerned. Derek Justice put his number 31 GameStop machine on the pole, if that's no surprise at all. But the shock of the night, guys, and we're going to go here once again. Can't believe this. The outside pole sitter Wednesday night on DRTV, the number 32 of Todd Stanton, wins dual race number two in the SRA 711 Truck Series, beating up on Derek Justice, Frank Divins, Craig Meyer, and Mr. Excitement David Day, taking down the top five. And as we said, we'll be here live on DRTV Wednesday night, 10:30 p.m. start time, the SRA 200 for the 711 Truck Series. And I cannot wait to get over there and see where that's going to take us. It's been a great week of racing here at Daytona, and that series, I think, Joe, is going to be just a fantastic week of racing.
Venturing on over to Maniac, as we're trying to thumb through these results. Great bunch of results. Maniac Racing, Project Cars. They run Project Cars on Tuesday nights. Joseph Cooley took down the win. Tim Heine, new driver in the number 18 is how the results are saying. It says new driver. Obviously a new driver in the number 18. Hopefully we can get a name on him. We'll just call him John Doe this week. The 31 of Antonio Irvin finishing fourth. Fifth was Michael Butler in that 007. On to the Maniac Racing Super Truck Series, which is ran on Fridays also. This is an open setup league. Antonio Irvin taking down the win. We have Tim Heine, the number 24, Jacob Lee in the number 21, and Bill Hall in the 33, rounding out your top five. The Cars Racing winner, Chili Aero 88 Wednesdays. Joe Bishop taking down the win. Antonio Irvin, Bobby Refuse, Bill Hall, and Mike in that number 84. Cars Racing Trans Am, there was no race. N4 Nights Grand National Series is on Sundays. Ben Simmons at Waterford Speed Bowl, and then 4 nights, 4-banger series on Monday nights. Antonio Irvin took down the win at Watkins Glen.
All right, guys, and to recap our last league that submitted information to us here at DRL Live, we're covering the IORL Racing League. Last Friday night, the stars of their late model series took stop number 11 on the tour at Jennerstown Speedway. Chris Wetz came into that race 6 points behind point leader Derek Justice, and he would also start from the pole while Derek actually started mid-pack. The first caution flew on lap 5 of that race, which started a chain reaction of yellow flags. Chris Wetz would eventually spin from the lead about halfway through the first segment, handing the race lead to Derek Justice. Wetz would go on to tear gear in the later stages of the first segment, climbing into 4th before the halfway break. And Derek Justice would lead at the end of the segment with Zach Buchanan, Bobby Jones, Chris Wetz, and Blake Warren rounding out the top 5. The first race of the half went a lot smoother than the second race, or the second half of the race, we should say. Chris Wetz climbed to second place and began to hunt down Derek using lap cars to his advantage. Wetz actually got around Derek Justice and crashed, as Justice actually looks like it said he crashed in a late race caution. A late race caution actually plagued and would actually, cause the race to finish under yellow flag here. So in fitting fashion, the first and second drivers in points, that being Wetz and Justice, would finish 1-2 together. And Wetz actually, with his win, cut Justice's lead to 3 points. So the final 2 rounds of the season, Zach Buchanan, Bobby Jones, and Shane Sides would complete the top 5 for that race, guys. So this Friday night, IORL's late model series will head to Myrtle Beach for race 12 of their 13-race season. Practice begins at 9 p.m. Eastern time over there, and qualifying is at 9:50 Eastern time.
Yeah, and they get some really impressive car counts as well there on a Friday night, so check them guys out. And guys, that'll do it for this week's Weekly Review. Great job, a lot of great leagues as always. And if you'd like to get your recap here and be part of the Weekly Review, get us in here at DRL Live at DRLnetwork.com and be part of the Weekly Review. And, of course, be part of the conversation we're going to have here tonight. Head us over to the SRA team, speak the IP on your screen, drop into the waiting room, and be part of the conversation. But, Rich, we're going to move on to something a little different this week. Normally we get into the speed rounds, but I believe this week we have a different little twist for everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. This is normally the period we get into the speed rounds. Speed rounds used to be a time session where we talk about certain topics, whatever's on top of our head or whatever topics I come up with to try to trick you guys. But tonight, instead of doing speed rounds, we're going to sit on the speed round window here and do some quick interviews that we've been anxious and eager to get to. And I believe, Phil, you got the first one up, right?
I sure do. I got our friend Chris Roder, some Excel Racing. Chris, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm doing good, guys. How about yourself?
Well, we're doing outstanding, my friend, and I asked you to come over here tonight. We got a big race coming up with you tomorrow night here live on DRTV, the Excel Shootout from a Daytona International Speedway. I know you guys also got the duels racing over there as we speak here. You guys are qualifying in about 20 minutes, so tell us what you think we can expect tomorrow night when we get back over to Excel.
Oh, it's going to be some hard action-packed racing. We got a brand new Daytona that we're running. We're running a Daytona SDT night version. Track's got a lot of grip. It's a lot more forgiving. You'll probably see a lot more bumping and banging. The outside groove, if you can get enough cars up there, you can really honk around the outside. Possibly 3 wide. It should be a pretty good race tomorrow night.
Now, I got to ask you, Chris, we get these awesome recaps from you every week here as part of the Weekly Review, but I have to ask you about the season that Kyle Lawson had over at Excel here in 2016, a 6-time series champion. Every time you look at a win list over at Excel, you always see Kyle, on the top of that list. I mean, just tell us here from your point of view, what has that season been like over here, and how much of a contender do you expect Kyle to be once again here in 2017? Because you guys have certainly had looks like great points battles going on in the Pro Cup Series and the Cup Series as well. So give us a little insight here. I can't wait to talk to Kyle about this tomorrow night, but just give us a glimpse of our viewers out there who may not be familiar, just the tour and pace that Kyle was on here last year.
Oh, man, I love racing with Kyle. Kyle's a good hard-nosed driver. Anytime you show up at the racetrack, he's almost guaranteed to be one of the top 5 cars to beat. He's very competitive. Kyle's pretty good at saving his equipment. When he needs to, he races when he needs to, and when it comes down to 10 to go, there ain't no doubt that 15 car won't be anywhere, outside the top 3. He's definitely gone on a tear at the very beginning of this season, winning 3 out of the first 4 modified races. He's won 4 out of the first 7 Pro Cup races. He went on a tear throughout the Dirt Series races. He took 3 Dirt Series championships. He's he's a lot of fun to race with. As a hard-nosed racer as he is, he's a lot of fun to race with. He gives the respect when the respect is earned, when the respect is given back to him. That's what I really like about Kyle. We know we can, the two of us, we can race each other hard. We lean on each other a little bit, but we know that the two of us can get away with each other. Other people, you can't push the issue with like that, but like I said, the two of us, I think we get a pretty good relationship with each other as far as on the racetrack and off as well.
Well, Chris, on behalf of all of us here at DRL Network, cannot wait to come back over to Excel tomorrow night for the Excel Shootout at Daytona. Looking so forward to it, and all these guys have been chomping at the bit as well. And a shout out to our friend Dano. Dano Skins painting us up some really awesome looking cars that I know we're going to go over and practice tomorrow night a little bit before the broadcast. So thanks to Dan Yeager for that. And Chris, once again, thanks for coming over and having a couple of words with us. I know you got a big race going on here tonight as far as the duels over at Excel you need to get to. I believe you're qualifying here about 10 minutes from now. So I appreciate you stopping by and being patient with us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night, my friend. Cannot wait to go back over to Excel and see all the guys. So tell them we say hello, and we'll see them tomorrow night for certain.
I will, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, and I'm also unveiling a new race car tonight. As you said, the viewers will find out a little bit more tomorrow night, but this is our 10th anniversary season, so I am running a special scheme for tonight and tomorrow night.
All right. Well, Chris, once again, thanks for dropping in, and we'll see you tomorrow night, my friend. Good luck tonight.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Chris Rodders from Excel Racing, guys, stopping in for a couple of quick words and talking with us here tonight. And, of course, we'll see him live tomorrow night on DRTV, 9 p.m. start time for the guys over at Excel, the Excel Racing Shootout at Daytona. But, Todd, I'm going to throw it over to you and Joe. I handled that one. But I believe we have defending FTF Jones Cup Series champion in the house this evening. Todd, am I correct?
Yeah, definitely. We have the defending champion for the FTF Jones Cup. A lot of people say he had a lucky horseshoe to win that championship. David Schildhaus is here in the chat box here with us tonight here. Going to chat it out with us. And I believe it was skill, but a lot of people are saying that he does have that lucky horseshoe, and that's why he won that championship. But I think it was skill myself. But that's to each their own, and decide what's going on with that. But David, I tell you, you had a great run last season. It looks like you started out the season really, really well once again here in those duels opening up. What are you looking forward to this season?
Well, I'm looking forward to proving a lot of my doubters wrong. I'll tell you that right now. You can call it what you want. Whatever happened at Homestead, I won. I mean, I won the championship. They can't take that away. And, the other guys had their opportunity and made mistakes, and I didn't make a mistake. And that's why I got rewarded with the championship. So, it was a blessed year. I was quite pleased with the result. I definitely wasn't expecting it. So coming into 2017, it's all about improving, being even better, winning more races than I did last year, coming back, defending my championship, winning it again. That is the goal. And winning a team championship with Vass House Racing again, showing these guys why we are the best team in the business. So there's a lot of big goals, lofty expectations, but we got the skills behind the wheel to get it all done. And if we come up short, it'll be a disappointment, but I don't see that happening.
Well, David, first of all, let me start with mad props to all you guys over at Vass House Racing. Definitely a top flight group of guys and a bunch of good guys over there. And I know we're going to have something to say about that team championship there this year. I know we get a couple of bullets going there ourselves and going to try to give you guys a go. But we're watching you guys closely last night as part of the duels at Daytona. I mean, we had 81 drivers show up last night. A tremendous event you guys are putting on this week. 40 drivers going to take the green flag here on Sunday evening. What kind of race do you think we can expect Sunday? I mean, after seeing last night, we've seen one race where kind of tore up a whole lot of equipment, and the second race was a whole lot more green flag racing feel and had some really tremendous racing out there. So what do you think we're going to see with 40 cars on the racetrack once again here Sunday night?
Well, hopefully we see more of what we saw in the second duel than what we saw in the first duel. Now, I will say the beginning of the first duel, the first 20 laps or so, were outstanding. I mean, it was side-by-side racing for 13 rows deep. or more than that. I mean, it was 30 cars maybe deep. It was fantastic. So I think we brought a great package to Daytona. The track looks really good. We're still working on optimizing the track because some guys are still having graphical issues. So we're working on that. We're working on getting the car file sizes right to help with graphics stuff. But overall, the racing package itself is fantastic. And I think that, we'll see more of what we saw in duel number 2. A lot of side-by-side racing, guys getting out and passing. I know I was able to get out and pass, take the lead if I wanted to. It was just about using the draft, use the momentum in the lane, and I think that's all you could ever ask for when you come to a plate track to do some of that. So I'm just very, very proud of the FTF racing group to have that many cars in a 14-year-old game show up to try and get into one of our events. That speaks volumes about our series, and I could not be more proud of that. That's a group effort from Justin Melillo, Kevin McAdams, Adam Kodal, Brandon Lawson, myself, and all the participants. It takes a true team effort to make something like that happen and to execute it. So that's props to everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Hats off to every one of you guys at FTF. I mean, that Jones Cup series, it is a destination series. The fastest drivers, I believe, in this community, and probably the best turnout each and every week. So congratulations to all you guys over at FTF. And David, I think I was pretty tame and nice to you here. I think Todd was pretty nice to you, but you got one of your chief rivals up here, and a good competitor and a good buddy of yours up here with us in the booth as part of our team, and that's our friend Joe Allen. And I'm not sure Joe's going to be quite so nice. So, Joe, the floor is yours.
David, how are you doing this evening, buddy?
Man, to be up in this chat room, to be talking with the true talent of DRTV and yourself, it's a good night. I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. We're just kind of kicking back, relaxing. This is one of our relaxed, events that we get to do. We're all serious behind the mic when we do our broadcast for races and whatnot. But this is where we kind of get to just sit back, relax, have a couple drinks, and enjoy ourselves. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. You had a huge media tour this offseason after your big championship over at FTF, even though I think it was a fluke and you got lucky. You had a little bit of that Vegas luck for you. You can argue that till doomsday with me if you want, but I think it was a little bit of luck, and maybe I'll give you a little bit of props for some skill. As I see a couple hashtags in the chat for not my FTF champion, I think that's funny. But anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty. You guys signed Jason Justice to Vast House Racing. I know you and Vassar are the co-owners of that team. How did that relationship come about between you and Jason, and what kind of details were worked out to get him to come to the team?
Well, it was definitely a big change sort of off season for Vast House Racing as a whole. We switched manufacturers. We went from Chevrolet to Ford. That was a big change. Vast House Racing has been a Chevy-based team since its inception back in 2012, but we made the change over to Ford, and I think that was a big part of Jason coming on board with us. We made changes to the rules at FTF to mimic the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series as far as team sizes being limited to 4. We had been using 5 as the standard in 2016, so we knew that we had to shrink our team down to fit the new rules. We lost Ryan Williams. He works for Joey Logano Racing, and his real life work needs were going to take him out of being able to compete on Sunday evenings. Dylan Smith had schedule problems as well. His life is taking off as a young adult, so he wasn't able to commit the time to Sunday nights either. So it left us with an opening, and when we thought about it, Jason had substituted for our sister team, our satellite team owned by Matt Durr called Motor Sports. He made a few starts for us last year, and we just sort of started talking, and it was a very natural progression. We assured him that the start times for our events were going to start earlier. That was something for him why he didn't participate more last year, was his real life needs as far as time goes for his work schedule didn't allow him to participate in FTF racing more often than not. So we moved the start times up. That accommodated what he needed, and we're all friends. We all go way back, and he was very agreeable to join a team like ours, knowing what we are able to accomplish, and it was just a very good fit. So I think in the big picture, we couldn't have asked for a better individual than Jason Justice to join Vast House Racing, who fits in with our ideals, our culture. Obviously demonstrates a high level of expertise on the track and is very successful in his own right. So I feel like we won the lottery in bringing Jason Justice to our team.
Definitely so. I would agree. Definitely one of the powerhouse teams at FTF. Myself and Martin Karch and David Day and Blake with Team Crush, and we have Team XSR with Derek Justice and a few others. A lot of big teams that are going to put up a lot of competition for that team championship this year over there in their 2017 season. So, thanks for stopping by and joining us tonight. I know you got a lot of other preparation that you got to get going. You and me are starting right next to each other on the inside of row 2 coming up this weekend on Sunday. So I look forward to getting out there and competing against you all year. I know you and me are both from the Las Vegas Valley, and you're in Arizona now, but we're still just a little hop over the pond away from each other. So it was good catching up with you and getting to talk with you for a little bit. Congratulations on your win and your duel yesterday, and look forward to getting out there and competing with you this year.
Oh, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. It's been a good speed week so far for Vass House. Matt Durr won the Clash last weekend, and all 4 of us were in the same duel last night, and I came away with the win in that in a very close finish, and my teammates were not far behind me. So, I feel we've started off 2017 as about as well as we could have hoped for. But the real work starts next Sunday at Daytona, and then for 35 more events after that. So it's a long way to go. We got a lot of great new competition at FTF. Your Team Crush coming on board, and the other teams, XSR, of course, like you mentioned, with Derek Justice, Speed Inc. with Kevin McAdams and Justin Malillo, and a lot of other great teams and individual drivers. So I think this year, 2017 for FTF is going to be the best year that we've had yet. I think the competition level is at the highest level we will ever see it. And, I'm just very excited to be a part of it. So if I win it again this year, I will definitely have earned it. I will go to my grave saying that one.
Well, David, on behalf of all of us, really cool to have the defending FTF Jones Cup Series champion aboard tonight. And once again, man, great to talk to you. I'm a self-admitted FTF fanboy. I usually watch all you guys every Sunday night, every time I can. So can't wait to see how this race is going to go Sunday night. So good luck. And I know we're sending a group out there to compete with you guys, but I said all you guys in the Vass House clan, you guys are a top-notch bunch, and all the guys at FTF do a great job. And congratulations on all your success, man.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. If you guys want to follow Vass House Racing, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Vass House Racing. I will be streaming all of our races the whole year. I know Derek does his streaming from his point of view as well. I'm going to be doing it this year. So we're going to try and combine our efforts to put up a multi-stream so you guys can watch all of us at the same time. Just bring some more interaction in for our fans to come in and see all the different perspectives and hear all the things that go on during the race. So it should be very exciting. DRTV did a great job with us last year to broadcast our finale, and we're very appreciative, and we're looking forward to working with you guys again this year. So we're looking forward to that, looking forward to racing with you. It's just all very exciting. So this is going to be a great year. Thank you, guys.
All right, David Schildhouse of FTF guys, stopping in. A tremendous interview. I knew he certainly would be, and a lot of great racing to come from them guys at FTF as we go all over this community here coming up in 2017. But now moving on out of the speed round discussion, Rich Patton, we're going to move into our roundtable discussion where we open up the conversation to all our viewers out there that can join us now by dropping in through TeamSpeak into the waiting room and being a part of it. But Rich, I believe we got an interesting topic of conversation here we can carry on the roundtable here tonight.
Yeah, unlike our speed rounds, we went ahead and went straight into our roundtable after all these interviews and all that great information from leagues around the community that you guys put out tonight. But tonight's roundtable topic, we're going to kick off a little bit different. Usually our roundtable is a discussion of earlier speed rounds, and we really didn't give you any speed rounds tonight. So tonight's topic in the roundtable is going to be bonus points. What is your thoughts on bonus points? And, of course, as Phil mentioned earlier, people are allowed to get in here on the chat with us by getting in the waiting room here on our TeamSpeak channel and get involved. So, guys, topics bonus points. What are we going to do with that?
All right, well, I kind of had this come into mind tonight, and it's basically something, exploratory for my home league and wanting all the information I can from all these great league owners and drivers out there. But the topic of bonus points in a race, guys, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this before we open up to the audience, but does rewarding bonus points to drivers as far as a race, as far as finishing positions, leading a lap, leading the most laps, or even points for a pole, does that change the approach to the way guys charge it on the racetrack? Do they drive the speedways any differently? Do they race any differently, thinking in the back of their mind about their bonus points, or is it just charge and just running a normal race and kind of an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing? I want you guys to tackle that.
Absolutely. I think it definitely plays a role into how somebody approaches their race, whether it be a super speedway or, a short track or a 1.5-mile intermediate speedway, those cookie cutter tracks. I think it does. If you're awarding guys, a bonus point for leading the most laps in a race, or you're awarding a guy a bonus point for leading a lap in the race, or you're awarding a guy for getting a pole in a race, you have some guys that can go out there and turn really fast hot laps. And having that incentive to go out there and run as fast as you can for 2 laps to get a pole, is a reason why guys can go out there and do that, and it's something to work towards. And the same thing goes for guys that want to go out there and lead a lap to get that bonus point. For guys that are, looking towards running a full, segment or a full season at their respective leagues, where these points are given out to people, you have every reason to go out there and change how you race if it means getting extra bonus points that'll help you at the end of the point season. At least as a race car driver, that's how I look at it. If I have a reason to go out there and try to lead at least a lap, or maybe go out there and try to lead the most laps in a race to get as many bonus points as I can possibly get to help me in a championship race, like for example, I'm participating in the IMS Super Speedway Series right now, and I'm 7 points behind first place. And I know IMS awards points for lap sleds and most lap sleds. I have an incentive to go out there and run as many laps up front and at least lead a lap, because it gets me that extra bonus point that'll hopefully get me closer to putting myself in first place in the championship hunt. So to answer your question, absolutely. I think there is a huge incentive for guys to go out there and collect bonus points if they're offered by, whatever league you happen to be racing at.
Todd, same question. You elaborate on that anymore.
Joe hit the nail on the head. I mean, I really can't elaborate anymore. It's just I'm a big fan of the bonus points. It's one of those things. It gives you like Joe said, it gives you the want to stay up front. I mean, I could hang out back all race long, but if I'm contending for that championship, I'm going to want them bonus points, because my competitors are going to have those bonus points. And I don't think it leads to wrecks like everybody. There's some leagues that think maybe it'll lead to a wreck or something. And in some cases it does. I mean, sometimes you're really, really trying for that, but also then it makes people gamble too, and it makes the race interesting, because they'll stay out on them older tires to lead that bonus point or get that bonus point that they may have not gotten when they're running probably 10th or 11th or 12th in the running order, and they're trying to gain some ground on that points championship. So, I like the bonus points. I've always been a big fan of it. I mean, even dirt racing has some type of bonus point for heat race wins, and heat race going down through some of it. A lot of types of dirt racing has some sort of bonus points with those, or some kind of handicap structure that helps them out in the future.
Now, we talk about it from a driver's perspective, but I want to get Rich's perspective here as far as being in the admin chair and as far as running a league and the distribution of these bonus points and whatnot. I mean, do we run the risk as leagues of maybe having some kind of mockery made of the event, of guys maybe driving over their head and causing wrecks that benefit at least bonus points? Do you think they're a hinder to racing in any way? Do you think they're an enhancement to the racing? What do you think?
I kind of think it's like a double-edged sword. So, and the reason I say that is from a driver's point of view, I would think, there's drivers out there that love point racing, and that's all they live for is point racing, and running a clean race and where they finish and leading laps and all that good stuff is all important to them. And if you allow them to get bonus points and they can do it cleanly, by all means, they're going to do it. But I think you also got, the other side of the coin out there, where there's a lot of drivers that just race for the interaction, to be a part of something, to be involved in something, and just go out there to have fun. And they really don't care where they finish, as long as they get to finish, or maybe they just need to beat that one guy on the track. So I think it's good. I don't think it pertains to everybody. As far as a league in general goes, I think it adds another element to the race that the guys that do want to race for points, it kind of challenges them to not just sit back all the time. And to the point of maybe driving over their heads, like you mentioned, depending on how late it is in the season and how close you are and what them bonus points mean, I can see somebody maybe pushing it where they probably wouldn't have earlier.
All right. Well, I want to know what all the drivers and the admins out there think of this topic of bonus points this evening. So, and I see we get a busy waiting room of guys. So let's pull all these guys into the conversation. We got Blake McCandless down there. Randall Coleman's going to join us here tonight. Phil Parker, Isaac Johnson, and Noah Carmichael, all going to be part of the conversation. So, guys, we got a big roundtable panel here now. So, guys, welcome aboard. The topic of the night so far, bonus points. And I'm going to ask, let's see, Blake was first on the channel. Blake McCandless, what's your thought as a driver as far as, what bonus points go? How do you think they impact the race?
Well, I think bonus points are a great thing. I like the fact that leading laps is rewarded. I like the fact that leading the most laps is rewarded. And I think it's part of the conversation that you see going on in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series tonight. I think or just in the general conversation today, I just think it's a part of whether you're rewarding drivers just for the end result or if you're rewarding them throughout the entire race. And I think there are going to be some good changes and good things that come out of this whole type of segment racing that kind of replaces bonus points in a way. I think a lot of what they're doing with rewarding 10th through first, 1 through 10 points, I think that'll kind of change and almost overtake what bonus points would have been. But as far as online racing goes, and a lot of the leagues on here that obviously don't quite have the time to run segmented races so much. So I think bonus points are a good thing to reward drivers and be a little bit of an incentive for guys to run out front, and maybe even guys that are running in the back maybe to take that risk. I know I've been in plenty of series at Blazing Pedals and a lot of different other places where that extra bonus points when you're fighting for a championship, I mean, that's a whole spot. And, when you're running with these guys top 5 every week, if you can lead in 4 different races, that's 4 different points at the end of the season. I think I even had a tiebreaker once for a Wheel and Modified Tour Championship, and I feel like a lot of that was decided because of, bonus points. And so, and even what Joe Allen was saying with him at Insomniac being able to maybe overtake some of those guys over there, obviously bonus points played something over there. So either way, I think it's a good topic, but me personally, I like bonus points. I like what they stand for. It's not just about the end result. It's about either dominating or running up front in some form or fashion.
Noah, let's kick it to you real quick. And what's your opinion on bonus points? Is it an incentive for guys to be aggressive to go up there and lead as many laps as they can, or just collect a lap and maybe fall back to the back once you have that and just relax for the rest of the race? Or, what's your outlook on this? Do you agree with awarding bonus points during a race, or no?
Personally, yeah, I think bonus points are a good thing. Obviously, it makes racing more exciting and makes people want to lead those laps even more instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to be in the back. It's like the first 20 laps. So I don't want to go out and cause a big wreck. You want to go up there and get those points because it could decide whether or not you win the championship or not. The only real problem I have with it is it can be in anything. I'm just not fond of it being in the duels because those are qualifying races. Does it make the racing more exciting? Yes, but it's already exciting enough because everyone wants to get up as far as they can for that front row for Daytona. And it's just a qualifying race, so I don't think points should be awarded for a qualifying race rather than an actual points race like Daytona or Chicagoland or Indianapolis or something like that.
That's a very interesting perspective to actually cover as far as the idea of bonus points being awarded, especially this year in the dual races. And you hit on a very good point there as far as, you already have an incentive to do well in the duels, when it maps out where you're actually starting in the Daytona 500. So awarding bonus points is, that's an interesting subject to be able to do that. But let's give it to Isaac real quick, guys. Isaac, what's your thought and perspective on bonus points and how they're awarded in a race?
I kind of, just to play devil's advocate, I don't think that they're necessarily a good thing because a race, the idea of a race is to finish first. It's not to run first the entire race. You can run second the entire race, and then on the last lap, you can pass for the lead and win the race. So the idea of a race isn't to lead as many laps as you can. It's to win the race on the last lap. So I don't think that they're something that you should need, really. That's just me. And with the duel thing, I think it's kind of silly that they're doing points for a qualifying race. I mean, I race real racing, as most of you know, and a lot of the tracks, majority of the tracks I race at, you don't get points for a heat race, and the duels are basically a heat race.
All right, very interesting perspective there, playing devil's advocate as far as, how bonus points should be awarded or whether or not they should be awarded as well. So, Phil Parker, driver of the 41, let's give it to you real quick, bud. What's your perspective? Are you in agreement with Isaac? Do you think bonus points are a little overrated, or are you with the majority here who think that bonus points is actually something that is beneficial to a league and a race?
I'm going to have to refer to what Rich was saying. It's a double-edged sword. Like, on the one hand, you got this one chance where you can lead a lap and then follow the back, and then you've got it all varies on the type of competitor you are. If you're like David Fieldhouse, say he's the defending champion, he's gonna want to go for 2 in a row. So you're gonna want to really lead as many laps as you can and try to win the segment or the race in general. But on the other hand, I do find it really silly about the duels, but of course I gotta agree with Isaac here a little bit too. It's overall very. It just depends on the competitor, but also more or less about taking risks and taking chances. It just depends. But I'm all for the bonus points.
Well, and now I want to bring Randall Coleman into the conversation. Of course, Randall, the owner of Fast Racing, and you're just the perspective I want from this as an admin, Randall. And the topic of bonus points, I know what it's like as a driver and the reward we get, but talk about it from behind the scenes as far as administration and handing out the bonus points and how they affect your racing, maybe in a positive light or even a negative light for any league like my own that's thinking of bringing back bonus points. Give us the pros and cons of it from an owner's perspective.
Well, when I heard you talking about this, that's why I jumped down here, because I can give you two sides of it. And being an open setup league, mostly, we used to do the bonus points back in the, when we first started, as far as giving a bonus point for the pole, most laps led, lap led. One of the leagues I helped admin at a time, they gave a bonus point for the hard charger. Unfortunately, like I said, there's pros and cons to it. It does improve the racing to a certain aspect, but it also hurts the racing. I'm kind of like with what Rich was talking about. Like I said, we used to give a bonus point for the pole. So, I mean, what you do is, you have all your drivers together, being open setup, they push it to the limit. And then you get a guy that might be good for those 2 laps and wind up starting in front of somebody. And all of a sudden, they screw up and take out the whole entire field. All for a bonus point. So, we got rid of that rule. We got rid of the bonus point for the pole because it's not about being the fastest for 2 laps. It's about being the fastest or being the most conservative through a fuel run or, through the race. That was to implement making guys focus more on their race setups. As much as we still allow qualifying and stuff like that, it seems that a lot of people do focus now more on the racing aspect of it instead of the qualifying. Not to mention we had a guy who won 15 poles in a row and got 15 bonus points and just whipped the field. So we had to change the rule, and it was for the better, and it improved the racing. The other rule, the other bonus point, like a hard charger, you can have guys sandbagging because they know that they can get to the front, and they know that they can do really well by getting to the front. So they sandbag. They drive up through the field, top 5 easily for them, extra bonus point. So, it kind of hurts the competition because you know that they're going to do it. Now we still award bonus points for leading a lap and leading the most laps and whatnot. And that, to me, those are worth it, because if you can lead a lap in the race, regardless of it being under yellow or under green, you deserve it. If you're able to lead the most laps, you deserve it. But the hard part of it too is, if, let's say, someone, once again, back to the kind of the whole concept with the pole award, someone drives to the front. If someone runs to the front, they lead a lap under yellow, and all of a sudden the race goes back green. And they're out in front of a bunch of guys who have 4 fresh tires, who are going to run you over, and you get nervous and you wind up wrecking the field. Once again, it's not worth that bonus point. So, there's a lot of pros to it. There's a lot of cons to it. The bonus point, I would say I'm always for the bonus point for leading a lap, leading the most laps. But like if you was to award something for like a hard charger or like a pole or something like that, and to me, you need to lean towards more of the racing aspect of things, But that's also coming from a guy who runs an open setup league. Fixed setup, everybody's on the same page. So it's a little bit different, who can drive it the hardest for 2 laps or something like that, where they can move out. But, I don't know if that's going to help you with your questions, Phil, but that's a lot of insight for you.
No, certainly give me a lot to chew on. Of course, that's the voice of Randall Coleman. Also joined up here in the booth as part of the round table by Noah Carmichael, Isaac Johnson, Phil Parker, and Blake McCandless. Not sure if you guys got any more to touch on that topic, but Blake, I know you came in tonight. You got a little bit of tidbit of news talking about awarding stuff for a poll and whatnot. So tell us what you're up to.
Well, actually, we got some exciting news. First of all, it's related to our NRT Pro Truck Series, and I'm just really proud of the effort we were able to put out last week, and I appreciate all the guys that came out and made it a great race. Saw a lot of green flag racing. Taylor Morgans was able to take the win, and we got to thank Guys White Creations for being able to sponsor the event. But for our upcoming race, we're taking this Thursday off so that everybody can watch the duels that are going on in real life. But next Thursday night, we're actually going to be running the Amazon 150. And the catch of this race is that we are going to have 2 $10 Amazon gift cards up for grabs. And it's only going to be awarded for qualifying. So I guess you can say we're not awarding bonus points, but you got a chance at a gift card if you show up. The pole sitter will be given a gift card, and then anybody will be randomly selected from 2nd through 5th in the qualifying order. So the pole sitter will be getting a gift card, and then we will have a random selection for 2nd through 5th. So just wanted to announce that. We're really excited about the turnout that we had for our first race. We're really excited about this going forward. And Mansfield's a great track. I know we ran Insomniacs over at the Mutt Series, and the Progressive Banking on, I know Derek Justice and Robert Bockham had a heck of a battle out there. So I know we're able, and then heck, you can go back and look at the Camper World Truck Series. I think it was in 2008 or so. There was a great battle there for the win. So I know that track's capable of great racing, and I know a lot of people in the community will be able to put on a great race there ourselves. So just wanted to come on here and announce that. I'm really proud to be running this series. I'm thankful to TDR for the support and all the drivers that have made it a great event so far.
And I believe, Blake, that's Thursday night, March the 3rd. Is that correct?
March the 3rd, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's the case.
All right, guys. So TDR Racing, Thursday night, March the 3rd. Amazon gift card up to the winner of the pole award there on a Thursday night. And Joe Allen, I know you're also a co-admin of that series as well, and I think there's a lot of great things coming there. And cool to put a prize up for qualifying there. You hear prizes for race wins, but not too much for poles, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yep, we're trying to keep things unique. We like to do things a little bit differently. That's kind of been our style, and that's been the motto of this season. But just a little correction, it is Thursday, March 2nd. That is when the Mansfield races. We're taking this Thursday off for the actual Daytona duels, and we'll be supporting our favorite NASCAR drivers there, guys. But yeah, as we said, but yeah, that's March 2nd, guys. So we look forward to seeing everybody out there.
All right, well, I believe that does it for the round table, and we're going to go over the Q&A session here tonight as we're past an hour on the East Coast, as we're talking all things sim racing as we do here week after week here as part of DRL Live. on the DRL Network. But Rich Patton, I believe it is time for everybody's favorite part of the show.
Yep, that's going to take us into hot takes.
All right, guys, it's time for the hottest segment here as part of the DRL Live show, and something that creates a whole lot of controversy here week after week, and that is called DRL Hot Takes. Now, a disclaimer we read every week before here: the thoughts and opinions expressed in DRL Hot Takes are solely that of its owner and not those indicative of DRL Network, its partners, clients, or affiliates. The intent of Hot Takes is for us to give our honest opinions in a completely unfiltered format to create conversation and topics for future discussion and debate. So with further ado, it is time for Hot Takes, and I don't think Todd's got one this week, Joe, but I'm going to give it to you. Did you got anything insightful to say this week, or are you just going to let me go on and get on my soapbox and rant this week?
Well, you know what? I'm going to let you rant, and I'm going to listen to what you have to say, and then see if I can formulate anything by the time we get to the end of the show. So give me a couple minutes to think about it, but I'm going to give it to you first.
All right. Well, my hot take for the week, and we're going to go a little bit outside sim racing here. We're going to focus on real racing as a whole. But Rich Patton, a rhetorical question for you. Do you know one great benefit that us as sim racers have over the real big-time racers?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of just one. What would be the one thing, Phil?
Well, you know, when us knuckleheads get out on the racetrack and we mess around and want to tear up equipment, we have that great thing called the escape button, where we can get out, hit the escape button, and go get a brand new fresh car, no harm, no foul. Well, by looking at these guys, you know, on the NASCAR Monster Cup Energy Circuit there and watching their little clash at Daytona yesterday, I want to put Mr. Denny Hamlin in the spotlight here and, you know, thank him for the inspiration for tonight's hot take because, you know, and I know Joe's going to rebut on this because he's called me the over 30 crowd that buries anything to do with NASCAR nowadays. But these guys, with a tremendous lack of respect for equipment, that block that Denny threw yesterday, tearing up all that equipment. I mean, years ago and years past, when you went out there and you tore up equipment as a car driver, you had to go back and answer to a car owner and guys that worked on these cars and put their heart and soul and blood and guts into rebuilding these things and paying the bills and being accountable. Well, I don't see this from today's generation of NASCAR driver, Joe. I see these guys all selfish, going out one for all kind of thing, throwing caution to the wind. And I think a great display of that yesterday was Denny Hamlin, knowing he wasn't going to win that race on the back straightaway, making that left-hand turn, taking out the two car, wrecking a whole lot of the field back there, knowing full well he wasn't going to win that race back to the start-finish line. And I think it was the mentality of this generation as a whole. If I'm not going to win the race, I'm going to get on my soapbox and make sure maybe somebody behind me is going to win that race. And I think it's unnecessary now. You know, these guys anymore, these kids that go out there and destroy these race cars and practice, I mean, they don't have owners that you see in a public eye anyway holding these guys responsible. I mean, we're just going to go back and get a fresh car, and you see in interviews so much that, well, we have a great new bullet in the trailer. These guys will pull out and they'll put the motor in and we'll go on and go. But, I mean, back in the day when guys went out there and raced like knuckleheads and created those wrecks, a lot of guys oftentimes lost their jobs. And I think we've lost that accountability today. So, guys, call that my hot take for the week. Take care of these cars, guys. They're out there full-speed weapons. They're not toys, and you're just tearing them up unneedlessly. So with that, Joe, I'll step off my soapbox, and I'm going to let you rail at the over 30 crowd for a little while.
I think what the issue that you're trying to attack right now is it's this boys have at it mentality that NASCAR has put into play here. And I don't necessarily think that it's a matter of let's go out there and see how many race cars we can wreck week in and week out, because let's be honest, any race car driver that goes out there and wrecks 15 of their race cars over a 36 race season isn't going to have a ride the next season. That's just you know, character for what it is. And at the second time, let's keep in mind that, you know, these drivers, they have sponsors that are paying for these things. You know, a lot of these team owners aren't coming out of pocket for a lot of this. They have sponsors that are covering it, and if they lose the sponsorship for it, then so be it. But I think to solely blame a driver on going out there and being and let's keep in mind, drivers are allowed to be selfish. They're out there to win a race. That's what they're paid to do. So they can go out there and make whatever moves that they deem necessary to win a race. And blocking is allowed in NASCAR. If blocking wasn't allowed in NASCAR, then maybe it would be a completely different story. Now, was it a bonehead move? Yeah, but guess what? They're not racing for points. Maybe if they were racing for points, and even NASCAR's format is so different now, where points racing doesn't really even mean too much as far as the fact that it's all based on winning right now. And I think that's a product of what we're seeing now. In order to qualify yourself to race for a championship now, you have to go out there and win. You have an incentive to win and do whatever you can to win. So at the end of it, who benefits anybody from not trying to put yourself in position to win? Brad just happened to get a hell of a run on Denny, and Denny was going to do whatever he could to go out there and win the race. And I don't blame the guy for doing it. Did I think it might have been a bonehead move, and did he wait a little too long to do it? Sure, he had plenty of opportunity to do it a lot earlier than he did. But to go out there and say that he did this merely to go out there because he had no care in the world for the equipment he's in, and he's a spoiled race car driver for T-Motor Joe Gibbs, then no, I don't think that's appropriate for your position on this, at least.
Well, Todd, you borderline that millennial crowd, being younger than I am, but a little bit wiser than Joe. So do you agree with me? Do you agree with Joe? I think I know what side Rich is going to go on, but I'm going to ask you first, Todd. Pick a side.
I'm really not a big fan of this NASCAR anymore. I guess I get it. I get they're trying to appease to this generation now and what's going on with that. I get it. I mean, NASCAR was losing fans according to them, and they're trying to scrape together what they have. I'm a dirt track fan, huge fan of dirt track racing and the style the stuff that goes on there. And NASCAR don't even compare to that. I mean, NASCAR had some glimmers of hope back in the early '90s, even late '80s, early '90s, even the late '90s. I think that true NASCAR feel is gone. It's something new. It's something that maybe I'll get accustomed to it, maybe not. I really don't know. It's kind of up in the air. I'm a fan of the old ways, and I guess maybe I just don't like that change that's going on there. I mean, the chase was all right. It did make things interesting, but we'll just have to wait and see how this unfolds. I didn't even watch the Clash, so that tells you how much I really do not enjoy NASCAR anymore.
Well, Rich, and being an outsider guy, I don't think you pay too much attention to this anymore, and I want to call this your Don't Drink the Kool-Aid for the week, but what do you think about this topic? I mean, just as an outsider view.
Well, I think the possibility's there that they don't think about their equipment as much as they used to. They don't think about the time and money and everybody putting all the time in and the expense of everything, because they're just drivers, and it's not the old days anymore. They got plenty of money, plenty of cars. It's not as big of a topic. Now, on the other hand, I don't race like that when I race online. I am constantly watching cars behind me. I can tell if somebody's got to run. If I know they've got to run, if I want to stop that run, I've got to get up there before they get closer, or I'm not going to be effective at all. I'm certainly not going to put my car in danger of knocking myself out, let alone everybody behind me, because if I knock myself out, I'm not even going to finish second or whatever. So I kind of, even though, like you said, we have an escape button to get a new car and whatnot, I still kind of think of it as, I've got to keep my fenders clean. I've got to finish as good as I can. I don't think that that's the style of racing that's out there anymore. And I think with all the rule changes, with the damage model changes, and the different phases or sessions or whatever they're calling them, I think it's just getting too complicated. I think they need to get back to driver versus driver, and whatever goes. And if the driver makes a stupid mistake and he's continuously getting knocked out of the field or dropped back, like you guys mentioned earlier, he could lose his ride next year, and maybe that'll change the field up. But I just don't see it, and I don't think it's because of the next generation drivers that are out there, because I used to like Hamlin, and yeah, everybody's got bonehead moves, but I think the product as a whole, NASCAR, and what the sport has turned into now is what's making it the way it is. I think all the crazy rules, all the rule changes, even the car design, they're going faster, they're stronger now, they're safer now. So the fear is gone, or at least not at the level it was before.
Well, with that being said, I'll hope all these guys keep their heads on, and knowing that Saturday night was a non-point, yesterday afternoon I should say, was a non-points race. Maybe these guys will have their head on their, next Sunday when we get to the Daytona 500. But guys, any last thoughts before we wrap up for this week?
I just want to throw one more thought, just a quick thought, and I'll agree with you on a portion of what we just discussed. I think it's important to understand that the drivers that we see in the Cup Series today, and I'll make this short, they don't have to go back to the shop and work on these race cars. And I think that if these guys were expected to go back and they were held accountable for this, and they were expected to go back and fix these race cars after they tore them up, they might have a little bit of a different mentality. But as you have these race teams with over 500 employees with each specialties on what they have to do on these race cars, I think that does play a little bit of a role into this, is the fact that these guys aren't expected to go back and fix these race cars, so they kind of have this mentality that they can do whatever they need to do to win these races.
Well, I love the insight, guys, and thanks for just taking my hot take for this week and all you guys' perspective. So I'd like to open this up next week on DRL Live for maybe just more elaboration on this topic next week. But let's move on here as we close the show out this week, usually with hot takes. But Todd, a lot of great stuff ahead this week, and I hope you're saddled up, man. We're going to be busy here. 3 more nights of big races here coming up here on DRTV, all starting tomorrow night.
Oh, I'm ready. I've been ready. I've been looking. I've circled these dates on the calendar. It's Daytona. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fast. There's a lot of good leagues coming up. And I love going over to Excel, and they I have to give a shout out. I know you did, Phil, but Daniel Skins, amazing paint job for our DRTV cars, beautifully prepared. But I'm looking forward to our trip over there, and then of course the 7-Eleven series. That's going to be awesome, and and even TDR this Saturday. I just can't wait. The Apple Collision Center's TDR Cup Series there. It's gonna be rather interesting to see who's going to all come out on top there. There's a lot of key players in this community, and you just don't know who's going to win.
No, we got 3 big nights, all from Daytona, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and of course Saturday night here, live flag-to-flag coverage here on DRTV. But that's going to be a wrap for us this week. Thanks to Joe Allen, Todd Stanton, Rich Patton, as always, Zach at Control. My name is Phil Lacasse. We'll see you back here on the air live tomorrow night. And, of course, want to be a part of next week's show here on DRL Live. Send us your results, DRL Live at DRLnetwork.com. So until next week, and, of course, for our flagship tomorrow night from Excel Racing, we'll see you guys in 24 hours. Good night from all of us here on DRL Network.